According to the MBTI manual, ESFJs make up 12.3% of the population, making this type the second most common of 16 in the U.S. population. ESFJs are known for appearing outgoing, friendly, detail-oriented, and energetic, with a great ability to complete tasks and uphold family and/or cultural traditions. They prize harmony, family, security, and I kind of want to say family security as an extra one, and celebrations, and couple these with their often natural inclination for organization to move groups toward a finished product or desired outcome in a practical and caring fashion. ESFJs have a great appreciation for a warm and friendly environment and will do their best to make sure their surroundings are comfortable for themselves and others while accomplishing tasks. The word "are" wasn't in the thing. I was like, I can't say it wrong. In addition to this, they enjoy tasks that are done in tried and true ways with structure. ESFJs often have a love of and appreciation for certain types of possessions, from shoes to shoes to shoes to handbags.
Yeah.
to clothing, to cars. They may also enjoy a good drama. As family members and friends, ESFJs are typically extremely devoted and warm caregivers who love to perform practical tasks for loved ones and host parties and events to mark milestones for those they care about.
Yes.
Welcome to Personality Playbook. I'm Sadie Young.
And I'm Kayla Whittle.
And it's time to talk ESFJs.
ESFJs.
Second most common type.
Yep.
And the first type that I think about when I think about a traditional mom.
100%.
Because they are completely warm and loving and will give you the biggest hug ever. Mm-hmm. And then they will also say, get your butt in here right now.
Yes. They have all of those qualities.
Yep.
100%. They have the best birthday parties.
Yes.
For their kids.
Yes.
With all the details. The snacks are named something that matches
goes with the kid's
theme.
Personality. And,
you know what I mean? I'm always impressed, like, as an ENFP, when I come over and you have, like, a Toy Story birthday and all of the snacks are, like, Slinky dog hot dogs or, you know, I'm like, wow, like, I would never think, you know what I mean? Like,
and you're going, where did you get the time to do that? But they really will put.
They love it. Yeah.
Yeah. They put all that time into their families. That's
for sure. Yeah. Because it's all about the people. Like, I want to make this a magical Christmas, which means I'm going to do all the detail things and have all the Elf on the Shelf shenanigans. And I'm going to have the birthday party with the whole theme because I love my family and I'm going to care for them in these, like, practical, cool ways and provide these exciting experiences.
And traditions and traditions and traditions.
And traditions, all the traditions.
Yeah.
Yes. We always do this every year as a family.
Right.
Yeah. All the kids have matching outfits.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
they
sure.
do the pajama picture with all the matching outfits. And
Yes.
they go out and cut down the Christmas tree.
Yes.
And, you know, have the handprint ornaments and, you know, just all that stuff that that is very.
Or they go to the Pink Pig, or they have dinner, or they have, like, breakfast with Santa at the Swan House.
Right.
That's an Atlanta thing, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's like these, like, very traditional.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, the Pink Pig is a train.
Yes.
That we have in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be on the downtown Riches building. And back in the 1800s when I was a kid, did you ever get to ride it on top of the downtown Riches building?
That wasn't a thing our family did, but I know a lot of people that did it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It was
My
like
dad rode it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of more like an open-sided, bigger train, I think. But back then it was like a cage that they stuck you in.
Yep.
It was almost kind of like what you would get in to go on a Ferris wheel.
Yes.
Yeah, where they would, like, close you into the thing, and it was small, and you would go around the top of the downtown Riches building around the Riches Great Tree, which is the big Christmas tree in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And we did that every year.
There you go.
And
yeah.
my grandmother was an ESFJ.
There you go. That's what you do. I don't know why a pink pig, even as an intuitive type,
Yeah, I don't know that either.
is related to Christmas.
Yeah.
It feels like a bit of a stretch,
Right.
but it is. That's
But
it's Atlanta.
I'll
I don't
have to
know.
look that
We
up.
like bacon. We like pork, barbecue, Atlanta. I don't know.
Yep.
I'm trying.
Yum.
I'm stretching to try
But
to
yeah,
put
the
it
pink
together.
pig was fun
Yes.
to ride on. And yeah, my grandmother actually used to work at that downtown Riches.
Oh, there you go. I always got a Riches bear for Christmas from my
yes.
grandmother. There was
Yes.
a new Riches holiday bear every year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to do that one too. And at some point, I got a pink pig stuffed animal from there too, because they had those at least a couple of years.
Okay.
So, with that being said, I know we're talking about ESFJs, but we're still NF rabbit trail. But it was a
Piggy trail.
It was a piggy trail, and it was related to my ESFJ grandmother. I'm gonna call it on
Done.
topic.
On topic.
Check. When we talk about the type dynamics for ESFJs, and once again, I know I keep saying this, but the videos are coming, I swear. ESFJs are dominant extroverted feeling. You'll notice there's that difference if you watched the ESFP video.
Yes.
ESFPs are dominant extroverted sensing.
Yeah.
And they have a much more open, go with the flow appearance. ESFJs, since they're dominant extroverted feeling, are going to have a much more structured outward appearance.
Okay.
And their principle is that decision-making piece of, dot, 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 dot.
Yes.
That's the noise that goes with making decisions. is it
Dot,
not?
dot, 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 dot.
It's very staccato. And they have auxiliary introverted sensing. That means that their vice principal, which is that taking in information, detail-oriented piece, they keep more on the inside.
But it's there.
But it's there for sure. And which is what makes them
And
practical.
the J puts a magnifying glass on it.
Yes, it does. And then we've got that good old word tertiary that means third. Their tertiary preference is intuition with inferior introverted thinking.
Yes.
If you see the inferior introverted thinking, somebody's having a bad day.
Yeah.
Let's try to stay away from that one. The words that we use for ESFJs are caring, practical, sociable, and traditional. I think I did good on those.
You did great.
Long time
Spot
ago.
on.
This is me reading stuff that I wrote 10 years ago for the website.
Spot.
Ooh, now that's going to make me say, is Mary Poppins an ESFJ?
Ooh.
I think she might have to be an N, though.
She's an N. She's too fantastical.
But she may be
You know
an
what I mean?
ENFJ.
Yeah, ENFJ I think is right for Mary
I
Poppins.
think she's got to be a J because she's, she's getting it done.
She's getting it done. Definitely a J. No doubt about that.
Yeah, caring, practical. Blah, 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 blah. Nobody said I could talk.
Caring, practical, sociable, and traditional.
Thank you. Wow. If I could hit a button and make myself talk better, it'd sound like that.
Also from the Atlanta area, do you remember Delilah
Delilah.
on the radio?
No.
Late nights with Delilah.
No.
Oh, you're hurting my heart. It was like easy listening. Delilah. She had this like low alto voice.
Huh.
Caring, practical, sociable, and traditional. That would be Delilah.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't know that, but I don't know that. We mentioned this tough but tender side. I don't even know if that's a side of an ESFJ. That kind of is
Yeah.
an ESFJ.
Well, it's because they're an FJ, right? Then you get the warm and the sociable and the friendly, but the J is like, here's the expectation. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we're doing as a family, and this is they're gonna like hold on to those. That's where that like driving force to make the tradition happen, right? Is that like J driving force there.
Right. Yeah. And you see this also very much in leaders. I'm going to try hard. It's amazing how hard it is when you mostly know a certain gender of a type that like I know with the ESFPs, we were really struggling to talk about men, and we've done that with several other types. And when we get to T's, we're probably going to struggle to talk about women.
Yeah. Or we'll think about like the one token friend that we have that's
exactly.
like INTJ or whatever.
Yeah. I know. I already know who I'm going to think about when we talk about INTPs, and it is a woman, even though I know quite a few INTP men.
Men, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, definitely I've known some male leaders that were ESFJs, and they're typically beloved
Yes.
by the people that work for them
Yeah, for
in
sure.
those situations. And because they do that same tough but tender, people will generally see them as really fair and will feel cared about.
Yes.
But they know that, it's a take no crap kind of environment.
Yeah. Yeah. That there's an expectation for, excellence.
Right. And, and not beating each other up and that kind of thing. But they do tend to be good in a crisis because they kind of feed off the drama.
They do. And they wouldn't like that when you say that.
Some of them do.
Okay,
I've
yeah,
said
some of them are self-aware enough, but others are like, I don't like the drama. Maybe they don't want to be in the middle of it, but they certainly want to hear about it.
Yes, and that's what I'm talking about. Is
They want the tea.
Yeah, Maggie, we love Maggie.
We love Maggie.
We love Maggie.
We talked about Maggie before we started.
Yes, we did.
Remember Maggie.
Maggie is, and I think she's pretty much running Georgia State now. Or at least
because she's an ESFJ.
Right. And because people like her.
Yeah.
And she's warm and she does not take any crap.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we were talking, she's somebody we worked with at the counseling center that we used to work at. And yeah, she was very beloved, but still had that toughness to her. And I was probably going to say something else about her that left me, but that's okay.
That's all right. It'll come back.
So we talked about how important family and traditions are to ESFJs. I don't think we can overstate that.
Yeah.
That, and that, I really think about, and it's probably because my grandmother was an ESFJ, but I really think about ESFJs as being matriarchs.
Yeah, I can see that. Like that's strong. Like I was thinking like the Italian mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like beloved, but also like
the head of the family.
Yeah,
and the one
for
you
sure.
look to.
Like my big fat Greek wedding, the Nick.
Yes.
Yeah.
I make lamb.
Well, and I think it's important also. I mean, life experience obviously is going to change how these family traditions play out. You might have some ESFJs that find it really important to do the family traditions that they always did as a kid. Or maybe they didn't do family traditions as a kid and they yearn to establish family traditions, right? And they have this like desire from early on, when their families are young, that they would establish these things that they didn't have.
Right. Like I want my family to have the experience that I didn't have.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think, that's just an important thing to bring up when we're talking about traditions. Some people don't have that like history in their family where they're going to continue. Some people do, but then if they have that like drive, that like desire to establish that for their family, that's a pretty good indicator that you have some potential, ESFJ is going to have that real yearning and desire to establish these family traditions for your kids to experience, year after year.
Sure. Oh, I remember where I was going with what I was saying about Maggie earlier, because I remember something, I think it was when we did the certification course. And I think somebody said something about ESFJs loving drama, and not necessarily that they are the dramatic ones.
Right.
But, like watching these dramas play out among people. And I think I remember thinking that Maggie was going to be like, and she was like, yeah.
Oh, I want to hear about it.
Yeah. She was like, yeah, drama. And I'm going, what? It's like I don't even know you. And I didn't know her as well then, but she really seemed to be into it.
Yeah.
That's a concept that's kind of foreign to me, but I think ESFJs kind of get that.
Yeah.
And really, I think they thrive off of that center of attention piece that comes with being the head of the family or the head of whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, I've seen a lot of instances where maybe there are multiple ESFJs that are trying to lead.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't get along that well with each other because they want that role.
Yeah.
And not
Regina
everybody
George
can have it.
and Gretchen Wieners from Mean Girls.
Oh, right. Yeah.
get
You can
along.
only have one queen bee.
Only one queen bee.
Yep. So, that's something that I've seen play out in several situations where you have multiple ESFJs.
Yeah.
And you could probably say the same for ENFJs a little bit.
But
they tend to be a bit more flexible when it comes to that. And ESFJs really just tend to be, and like the ETJs are definitely leadership types, but they're not going to take it personally.
Right. ESFJ will take it personally.
Yeah, ESFJ can definitely take it personally. This is another type. I think we talked about this with ISFJs, where they like to make their surroundings comfortable and attractive.
Yes.
And throw pillows.
And and organized and aesthetically pleasing and organized.
And with having the pretty planners, because ESFJs do really tend to like their planners.
Oh, they do. And they have like the color coordinated pins.
Yeah, and they might have stickers and all that.
Not all of them,
stuff.
right? We're generalizing here, but I think a vast majority really like the planner.
Yeah.
And you always have to assess why you have a planner, right? I have a planner. I'm an ENFP. That's not really an ENFP.
No, it's not because you love your planner.
No, I hate my planner. But I also cannot function without it.
Yeah.
Because I will forget everything. I had to make myself learn how to write things in my planner or put them on my calendar or whatever. That is effort for me.
Sure.
Right. And I feel like an ESFJ is a little bit different, right? Like they're gonna open it up and be like, look at this beautiful thing I have planned.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Or like the list making where if we add something to the list, we put it on there and check it off. Like I always think of like when you're packing things up.
Yes.
Like if I'm packing things up, I haven't made a list.
No.
For sure. But let's say on some far and away planet, I decided to make a list, right? If there was something that I was like, oh, I forgot to put shampoo on the list, I would just throw it in the bag.
Right.
And ESFJ does make a list because they like the list because the list is pretty and it looks nice.
Yeah.
And it keeps
also
them organized.
They'd like to be able to use the list again.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to make it better that next time they can reuse the list.
Yes. If they think, oh, shampoo is not on the list, they put shampoo on the list to check off of the list.
Yes.
Right? Like these are the people that have done like, I'm sure you've seen maybe on social media. They've done like meal planning, prepping, plus the grocery list, plus the budget, yada, yada, yada. And they sell those plans. ESFJs, that is like niche, you know what I mean? Right. For them to do something. They're like helping other people and they're putting together this like pretty, and ISFJ would be good too, right? Because it doesn't require a ton of interaction. But anyway, that's what I think of when I think.
And as you're saying that, I started thinking, surely Pinterest must have been created by an ESFJ, maybe an ENFJ, but yeah, they're both going to be on, because, as far as ideas, like ENFP totally could have done that, but the organizing it into an entire website, building an empire out of it thing is not much an ENFP thing. ENFPs are like, I'm glad you made that.
Yeah.
That I can use it. But ESFJs are like, look how pretty my board is, and they're going to curate. They're going to.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, like, again, I feel like I go back to this in many of the videos. It's like being able to value that in other people.
Yes.
And knowing like that is useful. Like, like I use a cleaning schedule that I'm sure some sweet ISFJ or ESFJ put together.
Right.
And it helps me a ton. I don't think that way. You know what I mean? Like I just don't. And being able to value that and say like, man, that was awesome. Helpful.
Well, and like as an INFJ, I would maybe try to make one of those for myself and then realize that I had missed some rather important details. And, I get 90% of it and then be like, why is this one part of my house perpetually disgusting? Yeah. And it would be because, oops, I didn't do that. And you'll find that ESFJs will put something on there about once a month you clean your baseboards.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah. You see, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, like the ceiling fans. I go and I'm like,
whoa. Oh, yeah, that is a thing you're supposed to do.
The ceiling fans. Wow. I know. Yeah. It's interesting. Like, but, and it's not just cleaning, guys. Like, I don't mean to put it that way or whatever, but yeah, those, like, man, it's helpful.
Extremely.
Like the ESFJs, I just really like helpful people.
Yeah.
Good, useful friend. Not in a use them kind of way, but like, it's like
you have brought value to my life.
Seriously.
And I appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Very nice structured value.
Yes.
as we've done with most of the types, we've talked about kind of the tougher side of being that type. Yep. This is not going to be an exception to that.
Yeah.
When an ESFJ is unhealthy, and I will say for an ESFJ, that is usually because they have not gotten the attention that they needed.
Yeah.
There's been neglect or like a lack of connection with people.
Isolation.
Any of those kinds of things. They can become too dramatic.
Yep.
And they can become very attention seeking.
They can.
And when we say attention seeking, what I tend to mean that as, like when you get to the point where that becomes a disorder, and we're not saying that anybody has a disorder here, but attention seeking, like you think of it when you hear attention seeking, I think the average person thinks they want praise.
Yeah.
But if it gets to the point where it's bad.
Yeah. If you're really squeezed, if you're really under pressure, if you're really feeling isolated and disconnected as an ESFJ.
Then even getting negative attention is something that you'll want because you need the attention.
Yeah.
And when it gets to that point, and once again, this would be when it goes overboard to being a disorder, it cannot be filled.
Yeah. Yeah.
We hope, if you're having a rough month and you're an ESFJ, then that will just look like being kind of needy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have suffered a lifetime of lacking that attention that you need, then it may start to be something that you feel like no matter how much attention somebody gives you, it doesn't fill the hole.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think, we talked with ISFJs about how this, like, there's like this internalized like bitterness and resent that can be, I don't know, like that can grow as a result of not being seen. And here's the thing, like that can sound really like I need everybody to see everything that I do. But when you think about the way that they think, like I'm thinking about every detail to meet all of these people's needs, and I'm helping put together a plan to make all of that happen, right? Like when that SFJ thing comes together and like everything that they do, like the driving force of that is like caring for others well.
Right.
With all the details and with the intentionality to like drive home and reach the goal, right? And that feels like their life's work. And that is the perspective they're coming from. And they don't even have one person that sees them when all they do is work to see others and make things happen the way that needs. You can imagine how bitterness would grow there. And whereas an ISFJ is going to internalize that bitterness and resentment, and it would be like here, and ESFJ is going to be like, you know what I mean? Like externalize it, right? It's going to be on the outside. So yeah, I don't want that to come across when we're saying like, oh, well, whenever you're stressed out, then you're needy and you're attention seeking or whatever, which obviously is not like how people want to be described. But when you get to the root of why that's what you do,
it makes sense.
It makes total sense, right? Like, because like, it's like my whole framework is doing this.
Right.
And if I can't even have one person that would do that for me, that's disappointing.
Yeah,
and
if I'm
discouraging and frustrating.
If I'm devoting my life to making everybody else comfortable and nobody even cares about me at all.
Yeah.
And it's almost like other people don't think the same way that they do.
Yeah, exactly.
And, but that's not what you feel.
No, for sure.
So, if you have an ESFJ in your life, you definitely want to understand that they're using their life to make sure that you are happy.
They are. Yeah.
And to just remember to appreciate that, because that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And it does not have to be a ton. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like recognizing that, like just being able to say like, oh gosh, you always think to bring us coffee. Thank you much for that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like literally it doesn't, like the ESFJs and the ISFJs that I know, like it really doesn't have to be like pomp and circumstance and a parade for these people, right? Like literally.
Although the ESFJs won't mind.
Yeah, they won't mind.
Them a parade.
They have a surprise party.
Are mortified.
Yeah, the ISFJs don't want attention at all about their parade, but they do want to be recognized, right? But I think even for like the healthy, moderate ESFJs, right, that I know, being able to like shoot them a text or even maybe say at a meeting at work, like, hey, thanks for always thinking about that. Like that's really helpful. Like we're better because of you. And even those like just small little like breadcrumbs that seem like they don't take much effort from another type can be super meaningful for an ESFJ.
Yeah. But I will say with ESFJs, if you have an opportunity to say it at the meeting,
Yes.
then
Say
do
it at the meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for an
for sure.
ESFJ.
Yeah,
for
I
an
think it.
ISFJ, say it privately.
Make the social media post for the ESFJ, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And,
look
you
at what
know,
they did. They're awesome.
and if you can tag some people in it,
Yeah.
all the better.
Yeah.
Because I remember, one of the things that I remember the most about our training, when we did the Myers-Briggs certification training back then, is that when Maggie was brought up in front of that group, everybody started talking about how amazing she was.
Yeah.
And she was just like, this is the best training ever, because everybody just started showering love on her. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some other people in the room that also would have appreciated that
Sure.
level of acknowledgement that weren't getting it, that were like, you.
Yeah.
But, for her, that was great to be acknowledged publicly
Yeah.
like that. Whereas
Yeah.
for me, I would have been like, I'll be in the corner. I appreciate it, but stop.
Yeah. That I feel like that for me was one of the biggest things I had to learn for, the extrovert introvert differences is that how introverts like to be celebrated is vastly different than how extroverts like to be celebrated.
Yeah.
And it took me several birthdays with Chad to realize that he really doesn't want to wear the sombrero
No.
at the Mexican restaurant.
And also, especially being an ISTJ, he's worried about the germs
Yeah.
that are on the sombrero from the last people.
Whose
So that's
head
even
has
worse.
this been on? Yeah, no, but that I will say, very, very challenging for me.
Yeah.
Because I really thought, I think up until I began to understand personality more and individual differences more, I really thought it was like being like overly humble.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, don't, whatever. When really
When
it
you're
was-
actually like more.
Yeah.
And they're like, no.
No, like
Please,
seriously,
stop.
stop. In that moment, I think I've talked about it before. I had a surprise birthday party for Chad's 30th.
Oh, okay.
He's 42 now. This is many years, ago, but I would have loved it.
Yeah.
And I planned this party that I would love.
Right.
And at the end of it, he was very grateful. He was very kind. And he said, please don't ever throw me a surprise party again. And I was like, wow, okay. But no, I get it. Because that's not how he wants to be celebrated, right?
Sure.
And for his 40th, he and I went on a trip to Cancun.
Hey, nice.
And it was amazing. And
Right.
he loved it. And I really wanted to invite some friends, but I didn't.
Well, that was good. As self-awareness
Yes.
is the key to life.
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
at least to getting along with people.
Right. And I think it probably would be equally, like I've talked to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's an ISFJ. I've talked to my mother-in-law about this. As hard as it was for me to understand that an introvert wouldn't want to be celebrated that way. Like, again, that I think was like the hardest thing for me to really like grasp hold of and figure out. I think for her, it's like trying to figure out, and you'll probably could speak more directly to this than I can, but trying to figure out like why I would want that attention and how that doesn't make me a bad person. Does that make
Sure,
sense?
yeah.
Like how, oh, how conceited are you? You know what I mean? That you
Yeah.
would want everybody to fuss over you. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
It's funny. Speaking just from my own perspective, I don't know. I think about talking about ESFJs. I think about my grandmother, who my mom always used to say that when she was a kid, if they ran into somebody at the store, and my mom's an ISFJ.
Yeah.
And, I come from a family that can sing.
Okay.
Apparently, when my mom and them ran into somebody at Downtown Riches that we were
Yeah.
talking about with the Pink Pig, because that's where you shopped back then.
Yeah, for sure.
In the 50s, my grandmother would push my mother out in front of her and say, sing.
Oh, no.
Because for her, that was it. She said, we share our talents with other people. That was very important to her. And that is something that makes sense as an ESFJ.
For sure.
For sure. You have this gift, you share your gift with people. And I think because I remember, and my mom would be like,
I can't imagine.
never,
Yeah.
I'm going to die. Don't make me do this. I think I always saw the extroverted desire for attention as
Share your gifts.
more like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is a different way to look at it.
For sure.
And, I think I always thought that I was supposed to be more like that and that I was supposed to want attention more than I did. I took it on the flip side. Of, yeah. Which is weird because, my parents are introverted. My sister's introverted.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when I saw people that were able to take that praise, I took it as that they were more socially adept than I was.
Because they could handle
right. They could handle
level.
the attention. And it was almost like they were normal and I was shy.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
So,
that's interesting. Yeah, like when you really, we should do a video. It's Idea Machine. We should do a video of like how each would want, like the ideal birthday celebration for each type.
Yes.
I think we could do that. Because I think when you hear from people how they would want to be celebrated, you know what I mean? It's like a little scope into who they are.
Right.
And if they're like, I want to stay home and be cozy on the couch and watch a movie, right?
But I want to go out to dinner first. I always want to go out. That's my idea of a party.
I want somebody to tell me that we're going to stay home in our PJs and then have 100 people show up at my house and be like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you see, if that happened to me, I'd be like, no, I'm in my pajamas. And you're going to have to deal with the fact that I'm in my pajamas, even though there's 100 people now, because you told me I was going to get a treat, which is the pajamas.
Yeah.
Now, an ESFJ might know that about me and throw me a pajama party.
Right. Exactly. We are trailing off from ESFJs. No. But I think that's interesting. Interesting little take on things. But ESFJs absolutely not only like to be celebrated, but like to celebrate others.
Yes.
That's like an enjoyable thing for them. Like, let me think about what they would want for their celebration and give them that thing.
And they would want it to be well organized, I think.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
And maybe a nice thing would be to somehow make sure that they didn't end up having to do extra work for it if you're celebrating them. Don't have it at my house where I'm going to end up having to clean up after my surprise party.
Yes.
Maybe have it somewhere else where, I can enjoy being the center of attention. And if there's a crown, I'm not mad at you.
Yeah. Listen, any ENFP will wear any crown any day. That's how I feel.
Yeah. And ESFJ would not mind the crown and the boa. I don't know why there's a boa, but
yeah.
I would wear the boa. That's just fun.
Of course.
I think that probably gives us a pretty good overview.
Yeah. I agree.
Of ESFJs.
And we love them.
Yay. And that rounds out the SF types.
Yay.
And
all the customer service.
Right.
the hospitable people.
Well, and not only that, that means we're halfway through the types.
Yep.
And we're done with all of the F types.
We're effing done.
We're effing done. But that also means that we're teeing off.
We are teeing off.
If we seem grumpy for the next few weeks, it's just because we're trying to channel T's. And we
should have shorter videos for T's because they're going to stop listening at some point.
They're going to be like, that's enough. It's on ENTPs because they are,
they'll go with us.
They're like the human talk machine.
Yeah. But if they ever get there, because they won't admit they're an ENTP.
Also true. Well, and also true that they're going to get 2 minutes into our video and say, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Next. All right. With that being said, it's time to cue the ninjas. Yay. Thank you guys much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.
Bye.